Hello and welcome back to another Theory Thursday. Today we are looking at what chords should I learn first when I'm learning guitar. Kind of depends on what you want to do, but there's a lot to go over. We'll go over it today. So I got my Casio Duro on. It's a dive watch. It's also known as the Casio Marlin, because there's a little marlin on the face of it. So that's what we got going on today. I don't have a tie on today. I don't know. I'm feeling a little casual today. I still have a collar, but no buttons. I kind of really like this shirt, so I've been wearing it more. If you've been enjoying these, please like and subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, it'll let you know when new videos come out. But if you're watching these, you probably already know we have new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, so without further ado, what chord should I learn first on guitar? Let's go. Okay, stop me if you've heard this one before. So you're probably thinking, hey, man, it kind of sounds like Wagon Wheel by Old Crow Medicine Show. You know what else it sounds like? Don't stop believing. I'm not a singer. Okay, the point of this is, or you know what else it sounds like? Baby, you a song, you made me want to roll my windows down. Cruise. That's my bro country voice. Like I said, I'm not a singer. The point is, these four chords that I was just playing here encapsulates millions of songs. I mean, probably songs that you don't even know. You and I don't even know are out. But the point is, it's if you learn these four chords, and not even in just that progression. That progression I was playing, we've done another video on it. It's called the 1-5-6-4 chord progression, and it is the most famous. It's the most used in the world. That's it, especially in pop music. Now, when you get into other genres, of course it changes, but pop music uses it extensively. And some of the most popular songs that have stood the test of time, a.k.a. Don't Stop Believin', Wagon Wheel, songs that have even had revivals, are sometimes, usually, they're using this progression. Okay, so the point of this is you really only need four chords. And if you're really picky about what songs you want to learn, and there's only certain ones, sometimes you only need three. Okay, so what chords do you learn first? Well, there's a couple ways to go about this, and it depends on what you want to do. Now, most of my students that come in that are beginners, they just want to play around the campfire, right? They're not going off to music school. They're not going to be playing at Symphony Hall in front of thousands of people, right? Playing classical, right? They're down here, like me, and want to sing songs that they like and entertain family and friends. Okay, here's what I tell them. You really only need four chords, and these are the four I would suggest: G, D, C, and E minor. Okay, G, D, C, and E minor, and you can reorder those however you want. The point is this is the key of G, and it's the 1, it's the 4, it's the 5, and it's the 6 of the key. Those are the most popular chords in a key, especially in pop music, like I said. Now, of course, there's other chords in the key of G, like A minor, like B minor, right? Then we have C, we have D, E minor we're playing. There's an F sharp diminished. I just played an F. And we're back to G. Okay. This just, in terms of modern day songwriting, these chords, the 2, the 3, the diminished 7 just aren't used, and it's my personal belief they're not used enough. I think it'd be really cool if we brought some of these chords back into the popular domain, into pop music. Anyway, that's a whole other discussion. Learning these 4 chords is going to get you 80% of the way of playing around the campfire. And then it's just down to technique. Are you able to strum? Are you able to keep a beat kind of thing, okay? So let's look at these chords. G, and there's 2 ways to play this. Well, there's a lot of ways to play G, but in the open version, you can play with your 3 fingers or 4 fingers. And it really comes down to comfortability. The note we're switching out, as you see, you start with your 2nd finger on the E string, low E string, 3rd fret, which is a G. We'll move to A string. Your 1st finger is on the 2nd fret A string. That's a B. Then we have 4 open notes, D, G, B. And then your ring finger is on the top E string, 3rd fret. That's another G. Okay, so I know that the G triad is made up of a G, a B, and a D. That's it. That's all we're playing here. And to prove it, here we go. G, B, D, G, B, G. So we don't play D twice, but it doesn't matter because those are the only 3 notes. However you order them, that's a G triad. Now, some people like to move their ring finger down to the B string, 3rd fret, and replace their ring finger with their pinky. So your first 2 fingers stay the same, right, on the G and the B. And then your ring finger's on the B string, 3rd fret. Your pinky is on the top string, 3rd fret. Okay? Also a G chord. So what did we do? So instead of playing an open B, we put our ring finger on it. And all of a sudden we have a D, which is in the chord. So they're both G major, right? We're not changing any notes. We're not adding a F sharp, right? Making it a major 7. We're just replacing the 3rd up down here with a 5th, which is still in the chord. So it's 2 ways to play it, and that's it. It really comes down to comfortability. D chord, there's really only one way you should play this starting out, and this is it. I'll put a diagram up here. I don't need to go through all these. E minor, everyone's favorite chord because it's super easy. And then C. I will say starting off, G and C is what get people, because G, you have to stretch your fingers across the whole fretboard, right, this way. And C, you have to stretch your fingers across 3 frets, 1 finger per fret. So it's just 2 ways of stretching your hand, and that's usually what gets people. But if you can get over that hump and be able to switch between these chords, man, the amount of songs you're going to be able to play is just unbelievable. So what I was playing was the 1, the 5, the 6, the 4. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be 4, 1, 5, 6, which you may have noticed is actually the same progressions as starting in a different place. Oops. Right, so anyway, these 4 chords. So you're like, John, why those 4? Why are we in the key of G? Why not do something like C? Because, John, I know that the key of C doesn't have any sharps or flats, so what gives? That's true, but we're not on piano, so we don't have just a bunch of white keys to deal with. It all has to do with the shape of the chords we're playing and the difficulty level of them. So let's say you wanted to play the key of C. And we're going to stick with the same 4 chords, the 4 most popular, the 1, the 4, the 5, and the 6. Okay, so let's look at the key of C. What's the 1 chord? C. We just talked about that. The 4 chord is an F, which on guitar, there's a lot of ways to play F, but down here in the first 3 frets, there's 2 ways to play it. There's a full bar chord, and there's a partial bar chord, half bar chord. Okay, same chord. You can just play the top half of it. All right, so that bar is usually what gets beginners. That's the next big step, is if you can play bar chords. It takes a lot of clamping strength on your hand, and it's this muscle right here that you need to work up, because that's not a muscle that you work in everyday life. So it's something you're going to have to build up and be able to clamp down on the neck like a capo would, right? So what else is in the key of C? We have C, F, G is the 5 chord, and A minor is the 6 chord. So that's a pretty okay key, except for one, right? The 4 chord, the F. That's tough for beginners. So if you're just starting off, I'd maybe stray away from C. Okay, what else? D only has 2 sharps. So what's the key of D? Well, we have a D. It's the 1 chord. 4 chord is a G. Right? We know that. We know those 2 chords. 5 chord is an A. That's an easy one. Right? That's an open chord. 6 chord is a B minor. That's another bar chord. So that's the step, right? You're back into bar chord territory, and pretty much the rest of the keys are the same. There is going to be a bar chord somewhere. And we could just keep going if you want, but it's just going to be the same thing. So that's why G is usually what I get people started on, and it helps start stretching out your hand and getting used to spanning multiple frets. Okay, so now you're thinking, John, I got those 4 chords down. What are the next ones? Okay, so first, let's just map this out. Your first chords you should learn: G, C, D, E minor. That's 1, 4, 5, 6 in the key of G. Okay, what comes next? I would recommend learning A. It's another open chord. And when I say open chord, I mean we are playing notes that your fingers aren't touching. Right? Your bass note, you don't have a finger on there. So all these chords we're learning so far have been open chords. So I would do A, then E major, A minor, and F. And I would maybe start with the half bar. Okay? And this is what that looks like. I'll put it somewhere up here. That F. Once you get all those down, because if you get that down, then you'll have the key of G down. You'll also have the key of C down, because you'll have that half F, and you'll have A minor, and you'll almost have the key of D down, because you'll have D, you'll have G, and you'll have A. All right, that's the 1, 4, and 5. You're just missing the minor 6 down. Okay, so third set of chords, I would get the full bar, F major, because that's going to open you up to all of these possibilities, right? So now you're pretty much going to be able to play in a lot of keys. So I would learn that. I'd learn F minor, also a bar chord. I'd learn B minor, and I'd learn B major. Okay, and that would be the last set that I think you'd have to learn. So you'd have the key of G down, you'd have the key of C down, you'd have the key of D down, and now you have the ability to build these bar chords. So you really just have to do the research and see what chords are in what, because you'll have the E shape bar chord, you have the A shape bar chord down, which means you can play any key. For example, if I want to play in the key of E, I know that the 1 chord is E, the 4 chord is A, 5 chord is B, this minor 6 chord is C sharp minor. It's like, oh, John, that sounds really scary. No, it's not, because you learned B minor, and it's just this shape bumped up 2 frets. Right? Okay, so getting your bar chords down at the end of all those chords is going to be monumental. It's going to open you up to the rest of the guitar. And then maybe you start thinking about, writing songs in different keys that actually match your voice if you're a songwriter and you're also singing your own songs, stuff like that. So I think that's enough information for today. So just to recap, what chord should you learn first on guitar? First, I would start with G, C, D, E minor. Second, I would get down A, E, A minor, F, the half bar. And third set of chords, I would get down F, F minor. I would get down B and B minor. And that'll pretty much cover you. That'll be it. You'll be able to move those wherever you need. Okay? So, hopefully you learned something. It was a little bit helpful. And we'll see you for the next one. Bye.